Hey everybody, it's Jay. When I'm not taking bumps, giving people headlocks, or pumping iron, I'm watching GoTarryn.tv.
And we're back, everybody. Happy Monday, October the 26th, and welcome to GoTarryn TV. We're welcoming back once again here, side by side, Jason Wood. Jason from Denver, how are you doing?
Good, what's up, man? Thanks for having me again.
Oh, thanks for coming back. It's our pleasure. For the folks out there, if you missed the first time that we talked, go back to last month and you'll see one-on-one when Jason was on here for the first time. And he's a fitness professional, and so is his wife, and they work out there in the greater Denver area. And was basically connected with me through our mutual friend Tony Anuzzi. So Jason, I wanted to have you back on today because I was really interested, to talk about professional wrestling, your career, because I think that there's a lot of, again, we've talked about this before, similarities of, our paths and how we both got into fitness. So let me just start first and foremost. Here's a real easy question. Who's your favorite wrestler of all time? Maybe that's not such an easy question to start with.
You know what my answer is, and I don't know if this answer's ever been done. My favorite wrestler of all time is the heel.
Oh, that's not bad. I like that. The heel.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I always liked heels a little bit better than baby faces. Obviously, some guys, excuse me, were able to transfer over and not be solid heels and not be solid faces, but. I don't have a direct one. That's like saying, what's your favorite band? I got, it depends on what I'm in the mood for. Obviously I would say Shawn Michaels, easily up there.
Yeah.
Like old school, Killer Kowalski, I think, for everything he really did for the business and stuff. You got to talk about Ric Flair, obviously.
Yeah.
Michael P.S. Hayes, the Freebirds, and one more, I don't know. I'll have to come back to that one.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Davey Boy Smith, Dynamite Kid, Chris Benoit, maybe one of those. I love that style, that kind of like, not a welterweight, but yeah, I would say those guys for sure.
Interesting. You just mentioned a name that I bet a lot of wrestling sites and interviews and such probably don't mention, the Chris Benoit wrestler. Let me ask you about him. And we'll jump around in this interview. We'll go chronologically, but where were you when that whole thing went down, and what's your thoughts? Should Chris Benoit still be inducted in the WWE Hall of Fame, or should be erased from memory forever?
I don't remember where I was, and I definitely don't think he should be.
Okay.
Only because of his contribution to that style. I mean, he was very influential for a bigger guy who moved the way that he did and did the things that he did. I mean, it's obviously unfortunate what he did, but
Yeah.
I understand maybe why WWE has to take him off because it's a publicly traded company, and I think you keep hearing that a lot, like, oh, it's a publicly traded company, they have to have a zero policy. Yeah, you do, but it's not like wrestling is this glamorous lifestyle. It's notoriously bad. So it's almost like, instead of trying to pull the shades over people's eyes, just say, hey, we're not going to deny him and we're not going to deny what he did. It was a heinous act. If he actually did it. I mean, Kevin Sullivan. I mean, I don't know. I've heard speculation. Why? I don't know.
I've heard those theories too. That that's interesting. That
That's what I thought. Honestly, like when I first heard it, I was like, "What? Like, are you kidding me?" And I was like, "Someone came in and killed him, and killed his whole family, and made it look like, because here's the thing. I mean, they say that he like hung himself with his cable machine collar. I mean, those things barely go up to 220 pounds. And you're going to tell me that it, supported him hanging from it?
That's a good question. Yeah.
That's kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
But, hey, the guy's finishing move was a flying headbutt that he missed a lot of the times. Obviously, steroid abuse. I'm sure, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. That's interesting. So let's go back then to the very beginning. What's your first recollection of wrestling? Pay-per-view, TV show? What year are we in when you first got interested, and how that happened?
Yeah. I grew up in a small town called Richfield, and there was an old video store that had, I thought it was a pretty big video store at the time, and they had the old Coliseum discs.
Awesome home videos,
Yeah,
yes.
plastic things you had to open up.
Yes,
I
I love
remember,
those.
probably WrestleMania 3 when that came out. I'm not sure when, but they would have
Yeah.
Survivor Series. I mean, they would have that kind of, mid 90s, like everyone else our age who really got into it. And I would just sit and watch them. And I just fell in love with it and really got into it. But um, I didn't really know anything, as much as I know now. It was a very unique thing, right? Wrestling, professional wrestling on DVD, and the only
Yeah.
thing I was really exposed to, occasionally they would have some Starcades or WCW stuff, but it was mostly, Coliseum Video, I think with where WWE was going at the time, was it was growing a lot, and I think for exposure, especially in the Connecticut area, you
Uh-huh.
weren't going to get a lot of the WCW, NWA stuff in a video store.
Exactly.
You were going to
Yes.
get the stuff from New York, and that stuff, it's good and it's great and it's influential, but there's other wrestling styles, I guess. I don't know.
Well, in addition to WWF and then WCW, did you follow any of the other independent promotions or third-party leagues that were, like, for example, like ECW, any of those guys?
Well, not when I first got into wrestling, no, because
Hmm.
the ECW didn't even really exist or anything like that. I got
Yeah.
into ECW I got hooked up when I was like in eighth grade.
Uh-huh.
I became friends with a band called Anti-Scene. They're like a punk rock, Ramones,
Mm-hmm.
you know, Misfits, Motorhead, but like this Southern style. And they
Yeah.
always sing about wrestling and pro wrestling. So
Yeah.
from there, I got really, like obsessed with Anti-Scene. They were like my favorite band. I knew all the members. I still talk to the guitar player to this day. I mean, I talked to him about a week and a half ago.
Okay.
Ended up staying with him. So these guys got into wrestling, and then I was like, well, I want to get into wrestling too because you guys are into wrestling. So I got into wrestling.
Yeah.
And then my senior year of high school, I ended up becoming friends with a bartender named Curtis Slamdog, who knew a guy. No. I'm sorry. Hold on. I got involved in like a punk band that I became friends with. They were called the Dorks, and the lead singer always used to go to a bar that a professional wrestler was the bartender at, and his name was Curtis Slamdog. So I got in touch with Curtis Slamdog, Roger, and he ended up hooking me up with a guy named Tony Rumble, who
Yeah.
was running wrestling up and down the East Coast. And he was running a wrestling company called Century Wrestling Alliance.
Okay.
And he would bring in big names, and they would do the whole fundraiser auditorium, bring professional wrestling to your school. So I got hooked up with Tony Rumble, and then I convinced my high school to put on a senior fundraiser, bringing in professional wrestling in the auditorium. So I was like the guy that kind of set up. Here I am, like a senior in high school, basically being a wrestling promoter, right? I'm like a young Tommy Fierro or something like that. Just a shout out to the Jersey guys, Tommy. He wrote for WWF for a while, I think. Or anyhow, so I told Tony, I said, dude, I want Killer Kowalski and Abdul the Butcher on this card.
Oh my
And he's
God.
like, what? You want Abdul the Butcher? And I go, yeah, I want Abdul the Butcher. I'm into that kind of like, hardcore gimmick kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
he ended up not being able to get Abby, but we had Tito Santana, Killer Kowalski, Devin Storm before
Wow.
Devin Storm got signed to WCW.
Yeah.
Um, we had Jim Cornette was there.
Oh my God! Wow.
There was a couple other people. I think I still have. Tony was there. Brutal Bob Evans, I think, might have been there, who now I just found out is a talent scout and a trainer for Ring of Honor.
Oh, okay.
And a couple other people. So got in the ring. Obviously, just, you felt the bug, right? They're doing this whole gimmick at the school where they're honoring me and the guy that I kind of student council president guy. And, that was it. That's all I needed. And then Sherry Benjamin, who was dating Jason Knight, who was a manager in ECW at the
Yeah.
time, was there because they were living in I think they were in Meriden, Connecticut, or Waterbury.
Mm.
And they're like, "Hey, wow, nice to meet you. This is awesome." I became friends with them.
Hmm.
Started hanging out with them like all the time, picking Jason's brain, picking Sherry's brain.
Yeah.
And then they said, "Hey, we know a wrestling promoter in North Carolina who runs a lot of the ECW stuff." So I was like, "Oh, dude, well, this is like perfect. This is like 1998. We're still into wrestling. We have the whole basement wrestling
Hmm.
gimmick. Me and my best friend John and my friend Mike were putting each other through tables, doing headlocks, coming up with gimmicks in his basement." So they said, "Hey, do you want to go down to North Carolina?" And I was like, "Yeah," because this being anti scene that I first got hooked up with, I know I'm now developed a friendly relationship with them. They're in North Carolina.
Yeah.
This guy's in North Carolina. I got to be in North Carolina. So I dropped out of high school, quit my job, sold everything, packed up my little Toyota Celica, drove down to North Carolina,
Huh.
stayed with my friend Russ, who is the now guitar player for that band,
Oh
and
wow.
I slept on his sofa. I babysat his kid. I was like his in-home like nanny or whatever. I'd help him out during the day or whatever, and then at night I would drive my car to this wrestling school in Charlotte,
Oh my
and I would
God.
like just get trained by these guys at the NWA Mid Atlantic Training Center.
Yeah.
Colt Steele, Gary Royal, and a couple other people. So started to learn to train, work out a little bit.
Hmm.
In walks this kid. This kid's got this little like peacock gimmick up here, and I'm looking at him, and this kid starts bumping, flying, boom, 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 doing all these spots. And I said, "Dude, you are like, you got it, dude." And he started talking. I was like, "You ain't got the talking part. I'll be your manager, and me and you could do this whole like gimmick thing. We're like young kids. We're like in our early 20. I don't even know if I'm 21 at the time."
Yeah.
So we start traveling up and down the East Coast. We go to Johnson City, Tennessee. We go to Atlanta, Georgia to do tryouts for Bill Barron's.
Oh yeah.
And we're
Right. Yeah.
running the NWA stuff. We're going to
Hmm.
like Mount Airy, North Carolina to do TV at some podunk little thing, TV, whatever it is. And then, learning where hard cameras are and stuff.
Yeah.
And then right around the time, we kind of outgrew that southern area. My
Hmm.
friend Jason and Sherry, they're opening up a wrestling school in Connecticut. "Hey, do you guys want to come up? Hey guys, listen, I got this kid. This kid's hot. He's coming with me." So me and him drove back up to Connecticut. He stayed with me on my sofa, hung out with like my parents all day or whatever, and we would just have like little mundane jobs like wrestling. We'd sleep in the wrestling ring or in the basement. We'd wake up. We'd like walk across the street to this little deli. They'd hook us up because they knew we were part of the wrestling crew. And I mean, we were small guys. We weren't even athletic looking, but we had the fanny pack and the ECW stuff and gimmick badges and stuff. So, they would like hook us up with these big fat roast beef sandwiches.
Oh
And then
nice.
we'd eat it, we'd work out, we'd go over and hook up with Jason and Sherry. Jason would kind of, talk to us about working out and training. And then class would come in at night, we'd maybe drive back. And, we did that for about a year and a half or 2 years,
Yeah.
going up and down Massachusetts, basically running the Connecticut kind of wrestling scene. So we had, Bob Backlund. I got some old badges I'll show you. Bob Backlund, Ron Zombie, Kurt Adonis, Fred Curry Sr., Just Incredible.
Nice.
Lance, I forget the guy's name. A lot of guys who were working for WWE at the time because they were just, WWE was growing. They were
Yep.
just coming off the Attitude Era,
Hmm.
or the Attitude Era had just kind of peaked. So there was a lot of money to be able to, bring in talent or take care of guys. And then ECW was kind of picking up steam. And then Ernie went to Japan with Wally Yamaguchi and a couple other people. Wally was part of Michinoku Pro at the
Hmm.
time. I think it was a big Japanese promotion. They weren't like Big Japan. They were more like a New Japan spinoff. They didn't do the hardcore stuff. They were more hard style. And
Hmm.
then from there, excuse me, Ernie kind of went on. I realized, hey, I'm too small of a guy. I'm not going to
Hmm.
make it. What's the point?
Yeah.
This is a waste of time. Not, I shouldn't say a waste of time, but I saw the writing, and then I kind of, went on to a different career. And Ernie still wrestles. I'm not sure. I love you, bro. I'm not sure. You might have missed your mark, bro. You might have missed your mark, Dylan. So yeah, that's in a long 20 minutes. That's about it.
No, that's really, really cool. Wow, there's a lot in that. Let me ask you, what are some crazy road stories? I know you can think of a bunch of them, but if I had to ask you your top two or three craziest road stories that people probably wouldn't believe are true, what would come to mind if you had to give some out that you can recall?
Well, it's not even. I mean, it's not. We were not very good, and we didn't. I didn't do it. I did it for a period of time, but so I wouldn't say that there were crazy, crazy stories.
Yeah.
There's a couple of them that I will not repeat. Um, let me
You're probably sworn to secrecy, I'm guessing, or
Dylan Dylan Cage and Ron Zombie probably know the one I'm talking about. If they don't, I'll send him a message, but I'll never forget that one. It's things like, there's road etiquette, to
hmm
where you don't fall asleep.
yes.
So me and Ernie were in the back seat, and Russ and this other kid were in the front seat driving, and Ernie and I fall asleep. So I don't know how long we were out for. Next thing I know, car pulls over to the side of the road on a highway, middle of the night. They're like, "Oh shit, get out, get out! The car's on fire!" And we're like, "What?"
Oh my
Ernie and I
god.
hop out. I run over to him. We run to the side of the road, and those guys just take off. I mean, and they're gone, right?
Oh
So
my
Ernie and I
god.
are like, trekking through the highway at the middle of the night. Like 10, 15 minutes later, they come back around. Ah, we got you. Don't fall asleep. Um, Things like that. Things, running out of gas. We went down to see Bill Bearings. We ran out of gas, and then we thought if we like turned the heat and the radio off, that we'd be able to like coast a little bit
Oh
further to
no.
like an exit. So pushing a car for a period of time to a gas station, and then not getting a draw, we have to wait until it's 8 o'clock in the morning, where I can call the person I'm staying with and go, hey, I need like $20 deposited somehow, so we can get gas.
Oh my god.
Quitting, we're just randomly quitting jobs that they wouldn't give you time off to wrestle. Hey, listen, I'm sorry, I said I could work. It's Friday night. I didn't realize we'd get booked. We had this big show. Oh, you can't have it off. All right, so I'm gonna quit. I'll see you later. Handshake and walk out the door if they got that. Um, this will be the last one. So I was working at the Sears Portrait Studio in Connecticut, and Dylan, you're gonna crack up when you hear the story, brother, because he helped me orchestrate this. So I'm working at the Sears Portrait Studio. I loved this job. It was so much fun to make
Yeah.
kids smile. I would do this whole gimmick where I'd hit myself on the head, and oh, it hurt. Like I'd sell it, But like you're a wrestler, so you actually like smash things over your head.
Yeah.
So when the woman was like, someone called out, then she wouldn't give it to me off, and like we had to leave by a certain time to make it to the show, right? 'Cause you have to be
Sure.
early and stuff. And I'm like, dude, listen, I gotta go, I gotta go. They wouldn't give me off, like you gotta come in. So I said, Ernie, I got an idea. Let's buy some Dinty Moore beef stew, and we'll pour it on my shirt in the way in, and we'll tell them I threw up on myself, and they'll let me go.
Oh god.
So we're in the middle of this parking lot. I got this white button-up shirt on. We're pouring Dinty Moore beef stew all over my shirt. Ernie looks at me. He's like, dude, I'm going to throw up. I was like, what, dude? I'm going to throw up too. So now he's puking in the corner. I actually puke on my shirt. I walk in. I'm like, oh, I really don't feel good. I'm covered in puke. And she's like, why don't you just go home? I was like, okay. Sold it. I go out to my car, unbutton the shirt, throw it in the trash, throw a t-shirt on. Ernie, he was still maybe a little nauseous, but he changes his shirt. We just go to the show.
Oh
Never
my
came
god.
back there. Never went back there again. Wow.
Oh, that's
Wow.
crazy. Wow.
That was pretty ridiculous.
I bet those were
Yeah.
fun days, though. You probably wouldn't
Yeah,
mind.
they were. And then I just tried to do it recently, and it didn't work out so well. I did it at Mercury Pro Wrestling School. They're an awesome school here, but I'm
Yeah.
36. I got, time commitment I didn't have, the physical ability to just keep falling on your back and stuff. I got beat up, and then I just, I missed it for like a week, and then
Yeah.
that basically it was there. But I felt
Yeah.
like I needed that little bit of closure, like
Yeah. No. Yeah, I understand. Do you think you'll ever wrestle again or have another match in the future?
the only way I would probably do it, because the hardest part is like the industry's changed. There are kids
Yeah.
there who really, I mean, the school that I went to, it's like I mean, it's a legit school.
Yeah.
So Matt, if you're watching this, man, and good job on what you guys did. So it requires I mean, it requires like training. Like you got to
Yeah.
go to school for this. I try to be a power lifter. We try to run a business. I mean, I got a lot of stuff to do. I can't devote the time to it to actually be good enough to pay my dues with a company to get on a show.
Yeah.
Ernie and I have talked about, hey, if I'm ever in his area to maybe manage him again, because that would be an easy thing to do. Like, I already know the guy; he would have some pull with the booker. I could just go out there, maybe run a spot or two, and call it quits. But as far as an actual match goes, probably not.
Yeah, okay. Well, let me ask you this. I've got some random questions that I wanted to ask you and wanted to pick your brain and see what you thought. Just your opinion, as far as like the businesses today, like WWE, for example. Sting's 0-2 on WWE pay-per-view history. What's your thoughts of that?
Overrated and should hang his boots up. He kind of sucked. He kind of sucked back in the day. It's an embarrassment now. Just he needs to leave, dude. I mean, honestly, they're I don't know if you read about that the Starcade. I don't know. It's Hogan and Sting that are
97, I
booking
think.
it. Yeah, Eric Bischoff talks about this. He basically is like Sting didn't show up in shape. He didn't take
Yeah.
it seriously.
I recently heard
Um,
this. Yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. I just read about that, and that kind of just that was like the nail in my coffin with the. No, who cares about Sting, really? The crow gimmick, like, eh, I don't. I mean, I don't care. He should be 0-2
Yeah.
because no one's gonna believe it when he wins. Like, it's not. He doesn't come out like he's. It's always like he's somewhere else, and he was kind of even like that anyway. The guy tag teamed with the Ultimate Warrior. Come on, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I don't get it. I mean, he had a couple good matches with, Flair, and he was definitely a stable, but he was like an unpolished John Cena. Tried to do like I don't know. I'm not into it. I think he's overrated right now.
What a
Right now, I think he was good then, overrated now.
Yeah, I guess people probably won't be caring about the Undertaker Sting WrestleMania match. That's probably if
No, it's like bring. I hope they have a medic close by. Like he's a good. I mean, and hey, these guys are really good sellers, but why? I don't know.
yeah,
I'll watch it, and it's gonna be. I'll watch it and mark out to it. Are you kidding me? Psychology, it might be phenomenal. I mean, it's gonna be what it is, but it's gonna be great at the same time.
who's gonna
It's just,
who's gonna win the Undertaker Brock Lesnar Hell in a Cell match in a couple of weeks?
I mean, dude, Undertaker got a concussion. Sting threw his back out. These guys are, first of all, something's going to happen to Undertaker. He's going to sprain an ankle, dislocate a knee, throw his back out. Like, these guys haven't shown durability.
Yeah.
And then to throw them in a match like a Hell in a Cell, dude, yeah, it's going to be brutal,
Yeah.
but it's also going to be, like, pathetic at the same time. Like, it's going to be Brock Lesnar, who I think if Brock lost to Big Show and at least showed, like, hey, he's somewhat human, all Big Show would have had to done is hit him a couple times. So I think having Brock always win, it's like, all right, we get it. He's always going to win.
Yeah.
Like, so now I watch a WWE pay-per-view to watch Brock Lesnar win, John Cena win over Seth Rollins in some DQ thing, Kane, like, really? This is the best you guys have to offer me? Like, I'll keep the network, but who cares?
Well,
Like, they were going good, and now they're not.
the Raw ratings have been at all-time lows now, and you keep hearing about Panic, and Vince is angry, and kayfabe's being broken with like Rusev and Lana getting engaged, and there seems to be chaos. And I think John Cena is going to be taking some time off too here, which is going to hurt ratings as well. But with all that said, the creative direction, I wanted to see what your thoughts were. Let's go back the past two Royal Rumbles. They hijacked the last two in a row back-to-back with Batista winning and then Daniel Bryan not winning, and then, of course, Roman Reigns winning the next one. And again, Daniel Bryan being thrown out early in that one. What's your thoughts on the booking creatively and specifically, like, for example, like what they're doing with a guy like Daniel Bryan that they'll never elevate or push?
First off, I don't watch Raw, so I don't know the storylines.
Yeah.
I literally when the pay-per-views are on, I hang out, drink some beer, but we always do like grilled buffalo wings, and we just hang out.
Yeah.
And I try to think about what I would do. Um, Daniel Bryan, I think he was really good in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
I think a lot of these guys cannot compete with bigger guys physically,
Hmm.
period. I'm learning that, being a power lifter, as small as I am,
Yeah.
yeah, I have a lot of heart and dedication. Your body, I mean, these guys are so small. Daniel Bryan is not built to be a main event professional wrestler. I'm sorry.
Hmm.
He'd be really good in that mid card with Cesaro, Chris Jericho. I mean, a lot of those guys. Chris Jericho could hang.
Yeah.
But like, and make it like glorified NXT, or even bring them to NXT and just create your own little kind of product and make your main events your big, your big guys. I don't know, because now Seth Rollins is there. Seth Rollins versus Daniel Bryan would be awesome, but then Daniel Bryan would have to go through and take a lot of stiff stuff.
Hmm.
You saw that a lot with JBL. JBL, like, personally, I've never met the guy. I think he's the biggest asshole in professional wrestling. Talk about a bully piece of shit. I
I've
mean,
heard that.
what he did with Meanie, he's
Yeah.
notorious for just being stiff,
Yeah.
drunk in the ring. I mean, he's just a real asshole from what I've heard.
Yeah.
So it's like, these guys personally try to get stiff with each other, and there's no reason for it. Or you get somebody like Roman Reigns, who is awful,
Oh. Oh
like,
my
and then you
goodness.
get him trying to show that he can do the job, and then he ends up being careless and ends up hurting these guys.
Oh, I
You know
know.
what I mean? To where at least, Seth Rollins is the closest thing to like a Shawn Michaels. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm sure some of his stuff is stiff, but he just looks like, him, Cesaro, Kevin Owens, even John Cena too. Those guys look like they take care of you. Some of these guys, they don't give up, and I think
Hmm.
it's when they have to try to prove themselves. And it's, you know, Roman Reigns, really, really, that's the best. I mean, them in the Shield was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
And then I actually even really like Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns as a tag team.
Hmm.
But they try to be like individualized, so it's like, why can't those two just be a tag team? And they can be kind of like, this goofy powerhouse. I mean, could you imagine they do like, uh, um, what's his face? Dean Ambrose does his little gimmick where he falls in the rope, comes up, hits the guy spins around into like a Superman punch or something. Like, get those guys working on like a 3D kind of tag team
Hmm.
gimmick, man. That first night the Dudleys came back, are you kidding me?
Oh,
That's
I
over.
know. Yeah.
That's over. I mean, that's so over. Are you kidding me?
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so that shows that Sting comes back and the crowd's eh. Okay, Sting's been around forever. The Dudleys have been gone for 10 years.
Hmm.
They were around in like the SmackDown trail end of the Attitude Era. They come back and they get a huge pop. That shows you with the guys that they worked with were actually able to get other people over. To where nowadays it's like no one can get each other over because John Cena's gonna win,
Hmm.
the Authority's gonna come out, Brock Lesnar's gonna win, and who cares? Really, who cares?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I agree with you. I think creatively, they've got they're lacking a little bit. What about TNA wrestling? Have you followed what's going on with them at all in the last year, I guess, since getting kicked?
No, no, no. I've never even watched TNA wrestling.
Oh,
Period.
okay, okay. Because I,
Yeah, yeah. The guy who runs Mercury Pro Wrestling was there for a year.
Mhm.
Dylan's ex-girlfriend, Velvet Sky, is there. She's
Yeah,
I think she's really over, right?
yeah, yeah.
Um, I mean, we basically, I won't take any kind of, because she was kind of coming in as I was kind of coming out, but she dated Dylan. I mean, I remember, when she first came into the rest. I mean, I know her from where was not where she is now by any stretch of the imagination.
Hmm.
I haven't seen her in like 10 or 15 years, but we certainly know each other for sure.
Okay.
Um,
Hmm.
yeah, so Jamie Talia, Velvet Sky, if you're watching. Um, so no, I have no idea. It's TNA to me had the Wendy's hamburger problem.
Explain.
So Wendy's has square. It's got a square burger as opposed to a round one.
Yeah,
Uh, what is it? A 6, 8-sided ring?
yeah, that's right. They got the six-sided ring.
I'm trying to watch pro wrestling. Not. I mean,
They
It's like it's too weird.
they'd gotten
But
rid
it's
of it, but then they brought it back though again.
yeah, but AJ Styles. I mean, they've had a lot of really good guys, and I bet
Yeah,
if I was to watch it, it would probably be pretty good. I saw some Ring of Honor stuff I really like.
I
Some Ring of Honor stuff looks really good, like some of the
yeah.
old Seth Rollins or Tyler Black stuff.
Uh huh.
Because those guys were awesome. But it's like the Indies also went through a phase where it was, oh, you're going to take your jacket off. I'm going to give you a plancha to the outside, run in, give you a flying head scissors. You're going to powder. I'm going to push you off. You're then going to give me a Frankensteiner, and then you're going to tumble out again. You're going to go up, and you're like, what? Like you shouldn't have to do that because all credit, regardless of what my opinion is of Sting and the Undertaker, those guys can go in the ring, not talk, not take bumps, not do anything, and you're like, oh, I want more. I want more. That's psychology.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Psychology's not, oh, I just kicked you in the leg, and I just threw you off into the ropes, and you ran no problem. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, very well said. Yeah, I totally agree. But yeah, I think that Ring of Honor has surpassed TNA, and at this point is probably the number 2 promotion you can argue, in the country or in the world. But I don't know if we're ever going to have another. You think wrestling boom like we had with the Monday Night Wars and WCW? You ever see that? Foresee that coming in the near future, next 5, 10 years?
No, no, not at all, and not because people aren't going to try, but it's 2015.
Yeah.
I mean, people want YouTube, Flash. I mean, the industry's changed. That's all. I mean, the industry changed from the 80s,
Yeah.
from the, seven, like, so you had the 50s and 60s,
Yeah.
right? The 70s, a little bit. 70s was kind of that wild. And then the 80s and then the 90s kind of duplicated the 70s with a blend of the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like swaying back and forth.
Yeah.
And now it's like you're seeing it be like the mid 80s, and it needs like a little bit more, aggression. It needs less Kane, less Undertaker, less Triple H, less whatever, and just have guy. I don't know. It's like I don't know what they need, but something different.
Going back to the earlier, you were talking about JBL. I forgot to ask you. Did you ever hear that story? He got his ass kicked by Joey Styles of all people in a bar.
No.
When you everybody watching this probably are some people know what I'm talking about. If you Google Joey Styles beat up JBL, just Google that next time whenever we finish our talk, and you'll see the whole story about that. But apparently, yeah, Joey Styles literally stood up to him and knocked him out, and it's pretty funny. So,
Dude, Joey Styles. I mean, Joey Styles is the man, dude.
yeah,
I wouldn't mess with Joey Styles
yeah,
at all.
yeah,
Especially, the guy was the ECW announcer.
yeah. So he had to be tough.
I mean, yeah, those guys they took care of each other probably more than anything else, but that was a carnival, dude.
Yeah.
When ECW was popping, it was a carnival.
Oh yeah.
And, it doesn't surprise me because that's probably not the first person he did that to.
That's true.
Yeah.
But he gained massive respect on the locker room. Everybody cheered him for that. Yeah, it happened when they were on one of those overseas tours, and JBL was trying to haze everybody, and Joey Styles had enough and went up to him and knocked him out. So
Right. Yeah. And I'm surprised JBL still has a job there. He's a good announcer, though. I will say that. He is a good announcer.
yeah, who knows? I mean, I guess it's one of those kiss ass kind of things, him and a few other people like you hear about the people like John Laurinaitis, Kevin Dunn,
Yeah.
some of the people in the locker room that kind of play politics. And of course, Triple H being married to boss's daughter, so you can always
Yeah, you know what though? I would say probably somebody with the work ethic of Triple H. He didn't have to marry Stephanie's daughter to get that position.
yeah, that's arguable. Yeah.
I think everyone says that, but the guy was a bodybuilder. The guy is obviously a student. I mean, when he was like in his, I mean, he's a heck of a worker.
Yeah.
And like you hear these guys, as far as guys who like live, breathe, eat the business, he is definitely one of them.
Well, yeah, I mean,
And
you're right. He went to your guy that you mentioned earlier, Killer Kowalski's school. So, yeah, anybody
Yeah.
who could survive that definitely had to pay their dues, no question.
Yeah, no. So I think, and he got hooked. I think he got a break because he got hooked up with, Sean and the Click and stuff.
Oh, definitely.
Maybe he wouldn't, be where he is if it wasn't for that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So sorry, my little girl just got up, so
Ah, okay.
we might have to continue this later on.
Hey, this was great. This was excellent, Jason. I really enjoyed this GoTarryn shoot interview that we did with you today.
A little bit, yeah.
This was wonderful. Yeah, I love it. Well, listen, we got to have you back on very soon. Check your schedule. Let's figure out when we could do this again. I hope you get to feeling better too. I know that you made it through this video blog very well, but for the folks watching, believe it or not, he's been dealing with a little cough. So hope that you get to feeling back to 100% here.
This is one of those. I was telling my wife, I said, this is one of those coughs where I'm trying to be like, I don't take anything. Look at me, I don't need anything. And then after like 3 weeks, I'm gonna go and buy something that costs like $4 at Walgreens, drink it once, and like never cough again for the rest of my life. But I have to come to that conclusion on my own.
There you go.
So, yeah.
Well, very good, Jason. Well, listen to your wife, listen to your little girl there, and best of luck getting through the rest of the weekend. And again, you've got another little one on the way too. If anybody missed the first video blog we did together.
Yeah, and good luck on you. I think your daughter actually, or your child, just went to sleep, unless there's a strange woman who just walked up and closed the door behind you. So.
Yeah, I see it now. I didn't even know that door was open, actually, to be honest with you. But the whole time we were talking, yeah. Well, very good, Jason. Well, listen, have a good rest of your Monday. Enjoy your week, and we will have you back here on soon. But before I let you go, one quick time. How can the people reach you in case they want to contact you after watching this video blog?
Oh, yeah. My email address is jwoodrkc@gmail.com. Okay. My wife and I's website is www.howdoyoumove.com for all your professional, not even professional wrestling. I don't know why I said that. I think we're talking about wrestling. For all your powerlifting, strength and conditioning needs, we got you covered.
There you go.
Pro wrestling depends on what state you live in.
Yeah, that's true. Very good. Very well said, Jason. Well, that's terrific. You enjoy the rest of your day. And for the folks watching, grab a pen and paper. Here comes his contact information one more time real quick as we fade to black.
All right.
Thanks, Jason.
Take care. Thanks, sir.
Yes, we'll see you. Bye-bye. Okay, everybody, there you have it. That was Jason Wood from Denver, Colorado. Some really good pro wrestling insight there. Great shoot interview that we just did. And I certainly enjoyed that. I hope you did. And there you had the contact information as well. You saw him. We did a Circle of Praise last month about howdoyoumove.com. So you want to check that out for sure and get in touch with them if you have any questions regarding personal training, powerlifting, any kind of fitness, health-related questions. You can reach out to him and ask him and his wife. And after you do that, if you could also please do me the favor of checking out this website link at the bottom of your screen, www.gotarryn.tv, and bookmark that as a favorite to your web browser today. And while you're at it, tell 2 people about that website. Also, if you haven't done so already, please make sure to like GoTarryn on Facebook, subscribe to GoTarryn on YouTube, follow GoTarryn on Twitter, and that way you'll stay connected with Taryn, the traveling trainer of GoTarryn Personal Training, who always tells each and every one of you, each and every time, that it's your time, it's your investment, it's your life. Enjoy the rest of this Monday, have a great week, and we'll see you on the next video blog, everybody. Bye-bye.